What's going on, everybody? It's Antonio from Akari Press. We're on the Indiegogo, $71,006. Santana Baby triple cover pack is, of course, still ongoing. If you want it, head on over to Indiegogo or just type in akaripress.com. It'll take you right there. The link, of course, is in the description. All right. So I'm on the Critical Blast site, and this morning, this article was published. It is written by R.J. Carter. And I don't know anybody over at Critical Blast. I had gotten a DM from them, what was a couple weeks ago or whatever. And I was asked when I announced that the preview for Brand was coming out, I was asked for a copy. I did DM a copy of the preview to them when it was completed. Along with several other media outlets. And this person, R.J. Carter, wrote the article. I don't know R.J. Carter. I noticed when I looked on, he liked the tweet here. Let me see if I can pull it. Yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. But he liked the article. These are the people that liked the tweet that was sent out. So he wrote this, and obviously he liked his own article, I guess, or whatever. But let me go back, because he broke Brand down, and I actually want to go over what he said, because I've been wanting to talk about the preview, and he got some things in there, and I was a little confused about. So let me just actually go in, and because as I'll just read the article, and as I see things, I'm going to respond to Mr. Carter. And let me see here. Brand is one of many new independent comics coming from the crowdfunding trend that has grown up over the past 2 years. The brainchild of writer Antonio Bryce and artist Kanan White. The comic book is mostly impeccably drawn and colored, and each individual scene is compelling in its narrative. All right. It's when looking at the book as a whole where things suffer. When we begin, we follow a young girl, presumably a runaway. You presume right, Mr. Carter. Yes. Not to mention the fact that I've spent pretty much the past year explaining in this story, because we're 5 years in the past, and Dawn, who we know will end up marrying David Craven, right now is Dawn Waddell, and Dawn Waddell has run away from home, and I'd say in this story she's been on the road for about 2 years. Not fully, but it's been. I think she ran away right for maybe her 14th birthday or so. She's about to be 16, but she's 15 when we pick up this story. She's run away from home, and the gentleman Edward Lynn picks her up. But let me see. He's presumably a runaway who gets picked up by an older gentleman. Now, that's one thing I've noticed. There are some people that have tried to make the character Edward Lynn picking up Dawn into some kind of weird sexual thing. I've noticed that I've gotten a couple of is she a hooker? Or what is it? I've gotten that a few times, and I always look at people weird like that. One of the reasons I put the hitchhiking thing in is because I've hitchhiked a few times. And it was just people that, well, I guess you could do that 35, 40 years ago, I guess. But now, I guess if you hitchhike, you got to do stuff or whatever. But I've noticed that a lot of people have projected these kind of pseudo-sexual things into it, where it was literally one person just seeing a person in need and trying to help them. He was going to Michigan to meet up with his wife and daughter, and he sees this young girl walking, along the interstate, and he helped her out. Especially in that first page, you kind of see that Dawn is just She just kind of looks withered, and her clothes, especially like Kanan set the shot up where he goes down and he shows her feet, and you see her shoes are kind of worn out, and she's got like a hole in her sock and all this kind of thing. But let's pick up the article here. Let's see. So let me see. When we begin, we follow a young girl, presumably a runaway, who gets picked up by an older gentleman who gives her a ride from Wyoming to Michigan. He even gives her cash almost upon first brush. Now, let's, when we get to Michigan, there has been time passed. How do we know time has been passed? When Edwin, or excuse me, because the character has the physical appearance of Edwin Boyette, but Edward Lind, when he picks Dawn up, we see the sun. When he drops her off at that bus station in Michigan, not only is it nighttime, but they both have different clothes on. So it's fair to assume that they've traveled for a few days. I think that's fair, because we don't see it's not daytime anymore, and they're not in the same clothes. So they traveled for a couple days on the road. He bought her some new clothes. Now we set up a shot on the interior pages of 2 and 3 where he pulled out his wallet, and Dawn looked and she's like, oh, this guy's got a lot of money. So at that point, she had already decided that she was going to rob him. But let's get back into it, because like I said, I think this particular article is well written, but I have some questions for Mr. Carter. So let's see. He even gives her cash on almost upon first brush, and his greeting is a cryptic line from Eastern mysticism, and that is when I use the line from Lao Tzu. The theme for Dawn is travel. That's why we opened with the Anthony Bourdain quote, and then the follow up with the Lao Tzu quote from Edward Lind, which obviously Dawn was familiar with it and she finished it for him. Let's see. She then picks his pocket. On the way out, only to be overcome by an attack of conscience. Well, yeah. A lot of the people that Dawn has encountered over the last, say, year and a half or so, they have been, it's been more of like a predator-prey type situation. She's kind of learned that she can't trust certain people. But Edward Lind treated her very respectfully. He fed her, he got her clothes. He was a good dude. She knows he's a good man. And I guess because she got to know him as opposed to other folks, then she felt bad about it, because he rightfully mentions in this next passage that she goes right back. She goes into the bus station and she starts stealing from these people. She hasn't gotten to know all these people. It's like she's randomly pickpocketing strangers. It's hard for her to steal from Edward Lind, because again, he was nice to her, and she sees him as a real person. These people in the bus station, she don't know them people. So that's what she came here to do. She came to rob these people. She's been grifting for about 2 years on the road, surviving. She's been doing that on her own. And obviously that introduces her to the character Fame as well. Let me see here. And he goes, this apparently is not her story, because we don't see her again in the book. Mr. Carter, I'm going to say this for the 87th time, because I know she kept saying the book, like you reviewed the whole book. You reviewed the preview. Nowhere in your article did I see that you mentioned that it's the preview. This is not the whole book. The book on the Indiegogo is advertised as a 48-page graphic novel. You reviewed 21 pages. The 21 pages were meant to introduce the characters, and then it's supposed to leave you at a point where you go, oh, wait a minute, what's going to happen next? Now, if you're telling me in reading this that you don't care what happens next, because I think you do, because you wrote a whole hell of a lot about it, but either way, you didn't review the whole story, and nowhere in this article did I see that you mentioned that. You keep saying you reviewed the book. You reviewed the preview of the book. And I will say, salute to Jamal Baraka from Garbage Tier Media. He did a review as well, and he did mention that it was the preview, so he got that right. So thank you, Jamal. Mr. Carter, you didn't review the whole book, sir. Okay, so this apparently is not her story because we don't see her again in the book. Guess who else we don't see? Lionel Solomon in the Covenant. And then we end with David Craven and William teleporting out to whatever happens in the latter half of the book. So you don't mention that either. This is all set up. Okay. We then are introduced to a philanthropic businessman who markets technology to assist in the finding of runaways. That does tie into the first part of the book in ways we are not given to understand. Of course not, because I'm telling a story. Of course you're not. Do I? Oh my God, am I? Okay. Am I supposed to explain every damn thing? I'm telling a story. Am I supposed to explain all the plot points? That's one of the things I hate about comics now. They'll be like, Hulk infused with 1,000,000 gamma rays. You know, and they have to explain everything. Wolverine infused with adamantium. He's a mutant capable of healing all wounds, and they have to go into all this weirdo exposition. I'm trying to make sure that I tell the story in a way that if the reader started at page 1, by the time he gets to the end, there is a clear, a clear resolution to all the plot points. I don't want to leave any dangling threads out there. Let's say that does not tie into the first part of the book. Okay, so again, first part of the book, you didn't review the whole book. You only reviewed the preview. So Lionel Solomon appeared on pages, what was it, on the page 2 and 3, which is a 2-page spread. It was 14 panels. He was in that one panel where, it was him and Tobias Stone, and he's asking, they're clearly planning something. It's pretty clear Kanan did a good job of telling that, yes, some foul shit's about to go down. So, let me see. All we know is that the businessman is up to no good because he's also a crime boss with large-scale Machiavellian schemes afoot. I don't have an issue with this particularly, but like I said, you didn't review the whole book, so it's kind of weird that you're basing this is the. I don't know. I guess I could put that out as I could, have it printed and have that be the first issue, but it wouldn't be the first. To me, it's not the whole story because I can tell you by the time we get to page 48, I'm telling 3 stories. I'm telling the story. I'm setting up the Covenant. I'm setting up Dawn's story. And then I'm setting up David's story and his relationship with both William and Jacob. But this is when I start getting into some of the dumb shit here. And Mr. Carter, I'm going to have to take you to task on this because that brings us to what seems to be the central focus of the book. A well-to-do black beekeeper who cooks, sets trays on babies. All right. Dude, he didn't say, oh my God, that's the dumbest shit right there. He set the tray on the baby. Anyone that saw the page in question, matter of fact, let me see, can I pull it up without shutting the whole damn computer down? Because I want to actually show this page. because this is some dumb shit right here, and I want it to be. Let me see here. Where is that page? Aha. So let's actually look at David setting this tray on the baby. Since Genius here is apparently all right. David Craven set a tray on the baby. Okay, this is loading. I'm just talking off the cuff because I want to take. I saw this article and I wanted to speak on it. All right, so David's sitting the tray on the baby. Okay, here's the baby. That's Abby. Here's David's knee, and you see the end of his foot right there, and you clearly see his fucking hand holding the tray right there. Mr. Carter knows that. Mr. Carter read the book. Mr. Carter is being disingenuous there. So I have to call bullshit on you right there, Mr. Carter. Okay, but yeah, he sets trays on babies. Let's see. Okay, and I have to ask you, Mr. Carter, what the fuck is a black beekeeper? There are no such things as black beekeepers. Anyone that read the book or the preview of it, they can clearly see that David Craven is a black man. He just happens to be black. There's no such thing as black doctors, black policemen, black lawyers. They're just policemen, lawyers, and doctors, and that's what it is. So I've never heard of a black, but you made sure that you put that in there. So I have to ask you, sir, why that was a sticking point there. A well-to-do black beekeeper who cooks, sets trays on babies, dumbass, and oh yeah, has a floating liquid metal AI accompanying him at all times that can become technology and help him pull a Shazam from a big fat black man to a big muscular black man. Boy, you done put black in there. Oh, Jesus, man. So that tells me right there that you own some bullshit right there. So that's why I'm talking to your ass. Cause I was like, you're not the only person that's reviewing this. You're not the only person that said you didn't like it, whatever. I could give two shits about that. I got a problem with this bullshit that you inserted in here. Let's see. Who has a network of fellow hunters and a white assistant who refers to him as Master. Oh my God. You guys. Because like I said, I don't know if you, as far as I know, I could give shit. I don't know if you're CG or non-CG, but I've noticed some people in CG that get hung up on race. And they have to do this. You haven't met David's master yet, but for the record, David's master is a Japanese man. And he's not his Japanese master, he's just his master. Why is he his master? Because he taught him everything he knows. So the character William is David's student. And the other character, Jacob, that they're going off to save is another one of David's students. David's had a couple of students. Obviously, they call him Master because he taught them every fucking thing. So this relationship appears to draw from the Shadow Agents and the way they all call him Master. I have no idea what that is. I'm sure that's a good story or whatever, but I've never read the Shadow Agents. But either way, if anything, I copied off of Return of the Jedi and other things that I liked where, not to mention I watched a lot of Kung Fu theater and people are, Master Sensei, whatever. But that would be my influence. I don't know what the Shadow Agents is. I'm sure it's fantastic though, which is where things end abruptly. Of course it ends abruptly because that's the whole point. You read the preview. You did not read the whole book. That's what I'm like. So what are we working with here? A runaway girl whom we know nothing about. That's true. A criminal whom we know nothing about. True. A guy with a cookbook. Now, let's talk about the guy with the cookbook. Because the guy with the cookbook, we know who that guy is. Why do we know who that is? Because it's mentioned 2 times in the preview. The guy with the cookbook. RJ Carter, I'm assuming you're not a dumbass. Okay? So, you know for a fact that while she, because you referenced the scene where she was running around pickpocketing in the bus station earlier. So you saw that. And you know there's a particular scene where she stops and she looks up and she happens to see this gentleman with the cookbook. And she knows who that person is, right? And then we go to the Ruby TV show with Lionel Solomon, and we also know this same guy with the cookbook is on that show. So we know that. Okay. And a superhero with no origin and an unidentified power set connected, if at all, by the flimsiest filament of a plot thread. Okay. First of all, I'm not writing a superhero comic. I have said that 1,000 times. Brand is not a superhero book. They don't do superhero shit. This is not what this is not what it's about. I guess if you want to say he's a superhero, I guess that's what it is. He has abilities, obviously, but I'm not telling the superhero story. They're not going to be like, oh my God, there's a criminal robbing someone in the alley, and then the Cravens show up and save him. That's not what Brand is. So if you reviewed this thinking you were reading a superhero story, then you were ill-served by me as a storyteller, because that wasn't what the fuck you were reading. But then he goes through the whole thing, breaking down what he thinks, and yeah. But either way, Mr. Carter, I still, like I said, I want to know, what the fuck is a black beekeeper? Why is he a black beekeeper? Why isn't he just a beekeeper? Because that's what the fuck he is. Quit saying dumb shit like that. I'm like, that pissed me off. But whether you like the review or not, the preview, I could give 2 shits, because there's some people that like it, some people don't like it. I got to keep it moving. The sales that we've gotten since I've released this thing, I've gotten over 40 new sales since we released the preview. So somebody liked it. And that's, I'm trying to, hopefully when they read the entire thing, that will still be the case, because we're going to launch Way of the Gun after that. But, hey, here it is. It's on Critical Blast if you want to read it. But, Mr. Carter, you've disappointed me, sir. But, whatever. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel, everywhere is at Akari Press. And if you type in AkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series, Brand, with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm out.